machines run smoothly. But after some time, it becomes dirty and cannot be used again. Use oil contains things like metal, dirt, and chemical which can harm the environment. Because of this, we need to clean or recycle it before using again. And now let's talk about the life of oil from the beginning to the end. Oil goes through different stages before it becomes used oil. And now, my friend Hafiz, we explain the details in each of these periods of oil life cycle.
Hi guys. Okay, right now we are discussing about how we can use oil to regenerate so that we can use. You can see that there are 4 steps that we have to be followed to make it. First, we have to be collect the used oil. That's the most important thing is that. Second, we have to do a refining process. First, we have to be refined. There are multiple processes which we will discuss later on the slide. Just like I try to do a little bit clue. First, we have to do a distillation and cracking, and then different kind of chemical treatment, which we will do in the later part. That's used in the refining section. When we do a refining, there is a third part which we call a blending. Blending mostly used to add chemicals, and this is a chemical process to make it more like a usable viscosity control, anti-fogging, and all those kind of stuff that we will add in those kind of additive in that blending area so that we can use it like a renewal. And the last point is distribution. So when we make a oil when we make a oil to reusable, then at the later part we have to do a packing stuff, and then we do a distribution. And let's move on towards our use oil. You can see that first the step is we have to collect the oil together in a different area. There are mainly 4 major companies that usually use. One is just like aeronautical companies or marine industry. Second one is automotive industry, mostly used in oil. And third one is just like a machinery. And fourth one is hydraulic. So all those companies usually use oil for different purposes, for lubrication, for consumption. So we collect all those used oil together, and then we try to do a recycling process. In the recycling process, if we analyze the oil can be reusable, then we go through the refining process. Sometimes oil is too much dirty. They have a lot of contamination in that. Then we don't do the refining process. We use as a energy, like a oil furnace. We use the oil as an energy extraction. So this is if the oil is not able to use as a combustion process, then the third step is we just try to think about how we can dispose it. In disposable process, there are 2 ways we usually do that in the disposal. First, we dump it, and if we can't able to dump it, then we reuse it like a coal, tar coal, in just like construction of roads and all those kind of stuff. So this would be a third step. If oil can be reusable, then we put in the refinery. How we can refine it? You can see that in the refining process, you can we collect the oil and then do a 3 kind of process. First is distillation. What is the distillation? We differentiate oil on the basis of boiling point, and then we do a cracking. Cracking is large molecule of hydrocarbons we just break down into a small one, and this process is called cracking. And third one, we add some chemical into that to make it reusable. And then we just try to be doing the refining. First one is dehydration. Dehydration is the removal of water. When we use oil, mostly oil contain water. So what we do, we try to be separate the oil into a water in the first step. Second step is filtration. When we feel that there is an impurity, which would be a physical process, we remove the impurity by using a filtration process and other kind of stuff. So the third step is hydrogenation. What does that mean? We add hydrogen into the oil to remove the sulfur content. Why we want to remove a sulfur content? If we don't remove the sulfur content, sulfur become oxidized to make it sulfur dioxide and trioxide, which is the acidic character into that, and that maybe causes a lot of kind of problem into our mechanical stuff. And third one, if we do that, if we see that the oil can be reusable, but there have some kind of contamination, that's called regeneration. We remove the contaminating part, but we don't do a distillation and cracking, this kind of stuff. We just remove the impurity and we regenerate to use as a next step. The second step is blending. First we did that, we collect the oil, we refine the oil. Now we are adding some kind of chemical to make it more chemical, to enhance the chemical property of reusable oil. We added some chemicals like chemical anti-wearing agents, viscosity modifier, detergents are blend together so that the oil can gain their own property. And then we do a homogenization. What does that mean? When we are adding a chemical into that, we should be homogenized, like a concentration of oil should be equally distributed in all part of that. That should be necessary. And later part we just do a packing and try to be just like packing and storage drums in containers. And after that, what we do, we just try to be distribution usually do in a three different way. One is just one way we just use that pipeline. Second one is trucking, and mostly we just do a shipping if we want to remove from one part of the world to another. So mostly we use three ways to transport oil, and then we just do a storage. And these are the chemical companies that these are the companies that usually use oil. Like I told you before, automotive industry. Second one is industrial machinery and hydraulic and other kind of marine and aviation application. The last point which I want to discuss, that you have seen that a lot of chemicals I am telling that we have to be add. So what kind of chemical adding and different process? These are the chemical exposed. Refinery, we use some catalytic and then solvent and acid and base on a different stages, what kind of impurity available in our oil. Second one is the blending. We just try to enhance the modification of detergents and anti-wearing agent and antioxidant. So these are the chemicals that we usually use. And in the distribution and consumption, anti-foaming agent, so that no corrosion inhibitor and four-point dispersion. So we just use these kind of chemicals. And the last point is that again, when we use oil management, we should use these kind of acid, base, absorbent, and conglomerate, all those kind of stuff. And now we are just, because our fourth member is not over here, he has some emergency, and we are going to play his video. So he just continue over here. He's Hani. Just
Hello everyone. First, let me express my gratitude for the will not be available in person today, and thank Professor for allowing me to submit a recording of my presentation. Now that we understand the general process, let's dive deeper into how and where this used oil accumulates. There are three major industries contributing significantly to the generation of used oil. That is transportation, agriculture, and power generations. Transportation includes trucks that deliver our daily necessities like food, clothing, and materials we rely on. Agriculture involves large machinery used for farming, which requires frequent oil changes, especially year-round. Power generation is especially critical in Sweden, where electricity shortages